And one of the key ways that we create suffering for ourselves is when we make a contract with life and we say, I will be happy when, or I will feel peace when.
Welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. I'm Dr. Dawn Earhart-Whitty, your guide on a transformative journey of personal development and discussions of universal truths. Join me and a panel of life coaches and spiritual leaders from around the world discussing how to handle some of life's greatest challenges. We will be sharing stories of love, faith, and inspiration with you, our faithful listeners, to live your happiest and most fulfilling life, full of purpose and passion for yourself, your families, and the world. We are here to be the change we wish to see. Let the conversation begin. Hello, and welcome to the Secrets of Being. Today, I am so honored to have Cynthia Abulafia. I hope I said that right. I'm so bad with things like that, but she is an author, an educator, and an experienced yoga therapist, I believe for over 20 years. Her recent book that came out is called Embodying the Goddess, How to Awaken Curiosity and Reverence on the Spiritual Path. And I absolutely love that. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I would love to know about your journey. How did you get into yoga? You've been practicing for 20 years. You're writing about spiritual paths. How did you get to this place?
Well, I started practicing yoga 10 years before I started teaching. I started practicing when I was a tween, they're called nowadays. I was maybe 11 or 12, and I loved the practice. I didn't know that was what I was going to do. And I went down more of a traditional academic path. And then when I became a yoga teacher, it was kind of, there it was. And how I came to the goddess traditions out of this long yoga path was a series of direct experiences, kind of like spiritual experiences that brought me closer and closer to wanting to study the feminine and the figure of the goddess in many different traditions in history. And that turned into wanting to create a revolution. I don't know, like come back to the body. It's always been here. It's always been honored. What happened?
Yeah, so was somebody in your family, did they introduce that to you? Did you happen upon it yourself if you were 11 or 12? Probably.
I went to yoga. It was in my community. I was in Los Angeles. So really at that point in the early 1990s, there were a couple of yoga studios in Los Angeles that I had access to. My mom was going to yoga, so she didn't do the practice for very long, but she did it long enough to introduce me.
Yeah. She planted the seed,
She
and that's
planted
all
the
it takes.
seed. Right. And I kept going. Yeah.
Because it was something that resonated with you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Coming into a space where the body and the breath are included in our practice and we have a chance to pay attention. There's so much in the outer world that we often pay attention to. And now that I lead yoga teacher trainings, trauma-informed yoga teacher trainings, I've been leading teacher trainings for 10 years. And I always ask the students, what is it that brought you into this practice? And they always kind of come back to, well, because I get to move my body. I get to move my body in a way that is curious and open and spacious, and I can pay attention to things and I can pay attention to my breath. And that's really what I felt about it as well.
I love that. I usually start my podcast off with a quote, and today I forgot to look up a quote. So you have a really great quote that you use in all of your email signatures. I would love for you to say that before, because I don't want to mess it up.
Oh, that's fine. It's Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was one of the great teachers of the 20th century. And he said, I flow with life faithfully and irresistibly.
Oh,
I flow with life. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we find ourselves trying to control everything, and we really only can control ourselves. And when we get
Right.
to that realization, our life becomes so much more peaceful and things flow in so much easier without resistance.
Right. And not just, I'm in control of myself, but also like that also means that who's in charge of healing my patterns? Me, right? So I can manage myself, but also I can heal myself. I can
Yeah,
investigate. Yeah.
yes. And our bodies are meant to do that. So, one of the things I was reading in your bio is that you talk about bartering the heart. What does that mean? And can you share that?
Sure. And this really comes out of a, I guess, a spiritual understanding that I came to really see within myself and others. And the way that I look at it is that we are so quick to give away our own peace. So we do that in very clear ways. You can map the ways that we create suffering for ourselves. And one of the key ways that we create suffering for ourselves is when we make a contract with life and we say, I will be happy when, or I will feel peace when. And the moment we do that, the moment we create kind of like a bargain with life, that we barter away our current happiness, we've created an impossible situation for ourselves. Because if I'm willing to say I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if, I will find peace when, we are now deferring the possibility for our peace and happiness into a time in the future. I also see it as deferring it into a time in the past, but essentially into a not now, into like what doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist right now, it doesn't exist. So we do this in four very key ways. When you say, like, if we were to write down a bartering statement, when you say something like, I will find peace when I pass that exam. I will find happiness when I achieve my ideal weight. I will find happiness when I am spiritually enlightened. You see, this can go across the entire span of thoughts, beliefs, and contracts. We can do this either for a future that doesn't exist that's positive, or a future that doesn't exist that's negative. We can also do it in the past, positive or negative. What we call projecting our happiness into the future, if it's positive, we call that desire. And a lot of spiritual traditions talk about this, kind of like desire is very sticky. Desire is very difficult. Like when you're really clinging to something, when you're really wanting something to happen, like look at how much pain there is in this like clinging tendency that we have. I really want to get this thing. I really want to be this thing. I really want to have this. I really, and it can be so personal. I really need my partner to go to therapy. I really need my kids to do what I say. I really need, it's all of these like I shoulds. I should do this. And it's a bargain we're trying to make with reality. But we do it in the negative as well. So in the negative future, we call it worry or anxiety. But when you frame it this way, you realize worry, anxiety is the exact same thing as desire and clinging. It's just in the negative. So when you say, I'm so worried about the thing that I have coming up, I don't want to do it. You could equally say, I would be so happy. I will be so happy when that thing is over. I'm so worried about the state of the world. I'm so worried about what's happening, is the same thing as saying, I would be so much happier if things were totally different. I would be so much happier if everything were the way that I think it should be for peace, for communication, for all of these things, right? But the point is that we've just kind of like deferred our power into something that either we desire or something we're worried about, something we have anxiety about, but that doesn't exist right now. And then in the past, we can do this as well, also in a positive and also in a negative. In the past, when we defer our happiness into like a happy past, I call that nostalgia or rose washing. When all of a sudden something in the past represents like, I was so much happier then. I was so much happier when I was in college. Like, I wish I had fewer responsibilities like I did before I had whatever, kids, a job, a life, a career, whatever that is. So we project onto the past, like, I can't be happy now because I was happier then. If only things were the way they used to be. And we see people doing this over the course of their lives. And the older we get, the more we're like, well, what is going on with society these days, kids these days? You know, it's like things were so much better back then in the glory days. And of course, it's not true, right? It's like when you were in college, did you really think everything was rosy and perfect? Or, right? Because we had our struggles then too. We carry these bargaining statements with us. And then in the past, negative, the way that we bargain away and barter our heart is we say, you know, I could be happy now, except that this terrible thing happened. And if only I had known now what I knew then I could be happy. And we call that shame. Now, there is such thing as trauma. And we look at this. This is one of the things that I do. But trauma, if we really look at trauma and trauma work and leading experts in that field, there's the event itself, and then there's how we internalize the event and carry it forward into our lives. So dealing with that event is different from creating shame around it and then projecting the shame into the past and saying, I could be happy now, except that. Right? That's an addition. That's in Buddhism, they would call that the second arrow. There's the original injury, and then there's the way that we create the shame around the injury. There's the way that we diminish our access to peace in this present moment by holding on to the shame and kind of like reliving these pain patterns within ourselves. Now, I call that bargaining the heart, but that doesn't mean that coming back to the present moment and seeing these bartering statements, everything's going to be hunky-dory. That's not what I'm trying to say. Because when we come back, when we see our bargaining statements, it's not that everything's going to be resolved. It's not that like all of a sudden my husband doesn't need to go to therapy, my kids don't need to do well on their test. It's not that all of a sudden, you know, I shouldn't feel concern and worry. It's that all of a sudden, I do have access to the entirety of my being. And from that more neutral place where I am whole and complete in my heart right now, I can ask the important questions and I can make decisions in the present moment that can address those things. So the problem is that we defer our happiness and we barter it away into some like, it'll be okay. All that does is it's a way of giving away our power. It's kind of like what you said.
So many things there that I'm just like, whoa, like we need to take notes and have a master class. But one of the things that came to mind is that, I read this book in high school called Waiting for Godot, and I can't remember the whole story, but the discussion we had about it afterwards was how many times do we say, oh, I can't wait till the school day is over. Oh, I can't wait until the weekend. Oh, I can't wait till break or vacation, or, we're deferring. Instead of being happy right now, we're waiting for something else
I
to make
remember
us
that.
happy.
I remember that one. I actually love that piece.
I did too.
Yeah.
Because that was like a very good lesson to like hear that. Well, I do that. I remember thinking, she's like, you're looking at the clock and waiting for 2:30 when the bell's going to ring and school's going to be over. I'm like, oh my gosh, I do that. Now I was a teenager, but I try to take that into my life today. And then another thing you said, oh my goodness, when you were talking about the worrying, it's like, I heard this quote that said, worrying is like praying for what you don't want to happen. And I
Right.
love that so much, because where are we placing our energy and our effort into something that may or may could go wrong, or how about it might go right, and that's
Yeah.
a different
And more
way.
than praying, isn't it? More than praying, because worry and anxiety has a quality of deep agitation to it. So it's a prayer can be measured. A prayer can have a heartbeat to it. Worry and anxiety doesn't tend to, I don't hear the heartbeat in worry and anxiety. What I hear is the rush. So I feel like it's almost more like excitement. It's like a kind of excited nervous system. Like I would be so excited for this thing to not be. I would be so excited for this thing to be past. I'll be so excited when the weekend comes and I don't have these deadlines hanging over me. Like that's what and then we call that form of excitement or desire, we have to give it its own category. We have to give it its own name. So we're like, oh, let's call that worry and anxiety. But it's a form of anxiety. That's how I feel it in my nervous system. And I do tend, that is like, of the 4 ways of bartering the heart, that worry and anxiety pathway is very well carved for me. Like like it's very easy for me to slip into that one. And each time I feel it in myself, it's like there's an agitation, there's an excitement there, there's an excitability there, but not a positive one. It's not like a positive excitement. It's like it's a grinding excitement.
Now, knowing that, right? We are human. So we're going to have those human things that happen to us. So even though we understand that, to ruminate is not good for us emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, but when you start seeing yourself maybe start going down that path, what is it that you do to help you get back to the present and
We write it
gratitude and all the
down.
good
What
things?
is my bargaining statement? Like, what is the thing I'm bargaining away right now? What is the statement that I'm looking for? Because if it's like, I will find peace when, I will be happy when, usually we clip that whole part of the statement out. Usually we just say, I should. I should do this. I should do that. I should. Now,
Mm.
I should is just a way of cutting off the first half of the sentence. So I think the most empowering thing is to just write it down. I will be happy when. Be honest. What's the full statement? Now, when you have that full statement in front of you, I will be happy when. Now, I'm a spiritual teacher, so I see a lot of people engaged in spiritual inquiry. And there's this concept in spirituality around awakening, enlightenment, liberation. So let's use that one. I will be so much happier when I'm an enlightened person, when I'm spiritually liberated, right? So now, once you see that bargaining statement out there and you say to yourself, oh, this is the statement I'm operating under, all of a sudden the power's in your hands. Then you can decide, is this true or is it not true? Because, like, when you don't even know you're making the bargain, you don't have anything to work with. It's like, it's just running. The wheel is just running. But if you can stop the wheel and kind of like open it up and see how the gears are going, then all of a sudden you can, at least I can, all have some agency in my life and have some sovereignty. And in those moments, I can really ask important questions. Can I be happy in this present moment? Is there something that needs to change? Now, if I were to say, and I have 2 teenagers, and my daughter stresses herself out terribly over tests, like
I've got
just
one.
so much stress. And last night, oh my goodness, she spent 45 minutes drawing a picture of a mountain lion as part of like this whole environmental science class she's in, where what she really needed to be doing was the homework and the research around it, but she was hyper focusing on the detail. She was hyper focusing, like, I'll be happy when this is complete. I'll be happy when this is perfect. And then I'll have a clear mind, and then I'll be able to do my homework. Like, this is what I'm seeing in her, this like wheel going. I'll be happy when this drawing is complete, then I can start my homework, right? Is that true? You can ask the question all of a sudden, is it really the case? Like, are you really clearing the space in your life to make this happen? Because if you can't find peace and happiness in this moment, then with that truth, with that honesty, you can take action. If I defer it and it's just a rushed feeling in my head, I'm going to stay on the wheel. I'm not going to take action. But if I can see my statement, I can take action on my statement. I can say to my homework, oh, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety right now. I'm feeling this way. I do have access to feeling peace in this moment, but I've got to finish the work. Or, oh, my partner really does need therapy. Not like, I'll be so happy when. Now, can I have access to my peace and happiness in this present moment, or does something really need to change? Do I need to say something? Do I need to make a request? Do I need to address something within myself? Like all of a sudden, we have more choices. We don't have less choices. We have more choices, but those choices are rooted in a heartbeat, in the present moment that has this like living, breathing pulse to it that isn't getting kicked down the road or avoided or just like run in the background. It's when we have access to the fullness of the present moment, we're not sitting in like a big bliss beige like reality of just beige, right? What a lot of spirituality kind of implies that it's kind of like everything is peaceful, and this only this moment and whatever. No, there's a lot happening in this moment. This moment is very interactive. But when I,
Yeah, we came here for these
yeah,
moments.
this is
We
this,
came here to learn all of the things that we're supposed to learn being a human. So
right?
we can't just sit on the hilltop and, you know, meditate
No,
all day. That's not what we came here for. I mean,
no.
God bless those who do, you know, and that's their journey, but we
God
came here
bless
to have
those who
the
do.
human experience, right?
Yeah, God bless those that do, but also at the same time, you know what's harder than sitting on a mountain and meditating is like having a family and having a life and having to pick your kids up and having to cook dinner. And then, you know, it's being invested in life, being an active participant in life, because the heart is beating, right? The heart is beating whether I'm sitting in total meditation is good. It's good to have a
Yes,
touch point. We want to have those touch points so we know, like, hey, here I am, here's my body. Hey, here I am, here's my breath.
right.
We want to have those touch points, but we also need to carry those touch points into the activity of life. Like, I can make a decision in this moment, given all the information that I have, that is full of the heartbeat. Like I can carry it with me. I can carry it with me. And then all of a sudden, my antenna can say, hey, there's something not right here. Like the heartbeat's not working right here, that there's anxiety in the system. So, what is that?
I love that. I love that. And I was thinking about something the other, like yeah, just yesterday, I went to go have a play date with my grandson, and I always love those. And I needed to get gas, so I'm behind this lady, and she's got her. I could not leave until she left. And she's in her car for I don't know. It seemed like forever, but it's probably a minute. But part of me was like, "Come on, lady," and then I'm like, "No, Dawn, maybe this delay is keeping you from getting into an accident. So just, you know, stop fighting what is, stop getting agitated about things that you have no control over, and just experience the experience with no attachment to being frustrated or anxious or, you know, and I feel like if we could do that in all of the moments. And I think it's called the burnt toast theory, you know, where they say like any delay or anything that's happening in your life is like it's either divine protection, it's redirecting you, it's moving you in a way that's better for your highest and greatest good. And whether that's true or it's not true, it makes going through the experiences so much more enjoyable, tolerable, without all the agitation and anxiety and things like that.
Yeah. And even in the most practical terms, it is also an opportunity in those moments. There's something so interesting about driving, isn't there? Like there's always like all these lessons we learn where it's like we get frustrated and then we realize, oh, that person doesn't even know I'm frustrated. It's such a good metaphor for like how we
Right.
really are the ones feeling all the things and it has nothing to do with them out there. They don't even know. Like here is so obvious, right? It's like, but also like being trapped behind another car, maybe that's a 2-minute opportunity to breathe and track your breath and like rest in your heartbeat and notice like you could actually even put your hands on your skin and be like, hey, check this body out, this is cool, you know. Like there's like a moment where you could like touch your elbow and just be like, oh wow, these hands that drive. Or sometimes when I'm in a delayed situation, and I grew up driving in LA, so
I
like
live in LA, so I we know.
I get it. There's nothing like you get up to the top of the Conejo grade and all of a sudden everyone's fighting.
Yeah.
Like it is just like it's hard. But also like the sun is shining. If you
Mm.
can, if there's nature that you can see, you can immerse in that. Like there are these opportunities where if I get out of that, like that bartering away of my heart, the slipping onto the wheel of anxiety, that kind of like go, do, then when that's not possible, it's actually kind of a gift, right? Like it's a gift from the universe. Like, whoa, I have a whole minute here to pay attention. I will get to the place I need to get to because I know and I trust myself. I'm a responsible person. Like when I told my grandchild I would be there, I will be there because that's who I am. Like I'm responsible. I trust that about myself. So, given that, how about if I take this moment, this minute really, to like breathe?
Yes, because then it makes our experience so much more peaceful, you
Right.
know, because we're the only one that that's affecting,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Well,
lady in the car in front of me, she didn't know that I'm like, come on, lady. But but that's the thing, and I think that nobody's perfect. We're not perfect just because we understand these principles and things, but it is catching ourselves in the moment while it is happening. I just had a big plumbing problem happen at my house. And instead of me being like, oh my God, it's how much? I was like, you know what? I am grateful I have plumbing in my home. There's water that runs through my house, and I'm grateful that I have the money that I can afford to pay for this. So I just kept saying gratitude, 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 even though, like, is this something I would have chosen? No, but it's something that is here. I have to deal with it. And I just was able to find all the gratitude in the entire situation. My plumber loves dogs, and he's a wonderful guy. And we had a wonderful conversation. I was grateful for every part of that experience,
yeah.
even though, I would not have chosen that. And I think that that's our greatest power is when we realize that we can look at, the fact that I have water in my house, and that is not something everybody in the world has.
It's a really good reframe. It's like, oh, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. Yeah, in any given moment, we have an opportunity to touch in and make that moment powerful for ourselves in a learning way, kind of like, oh, yeah, here it is. I don't when I have a response or a reaction to something, and I'm a highly emotional individual, so like I get plenty of opportunities. I don't use the term trigger. I stopped using the term trigger a long time ago, and I write about it in my book because like a trigger implies two things. It implies a weapon. A trigger is only ever connected to a weapon. And also it implies that the thing that's been triggered can't be stopped. So like when the weapon has sprung, the thing that's flying out of it, it's like you can run fast, but you can't catch it. But I call these activations.
Ooh,
When I have an activation, my system is maybe very red, and maybe it feels like a runaway train, but it's not. The truth is that an activation can be investigated. You can slow down an activation, unlike a trigger. You can slow down an activation. You can kind of like put it in front of you and play with it. And isn't that what therapy is essentially? Like, let's take your activation and let's look at it. Like, does it have a source? Does it have a temperature? Does it have a color? Does it live in your body somewhere? Let's take a look at this thing. It's not flying. It's not like a thing that you can never catch. It's an activation. It's not a trigger. It's like there's some heat in my system around this thing and I responded in this way. Let me look at that. And the more curiosity I develop around that, the more I'm able to meet a situation. And then all of a sudden, my baseline is curiosity. Hey, plumber, what are you up to today? Right? It's like then that curiosity gets to spill out into the world. Because it would be very easy to get triggered. It would be very easy to get activated. And then we start blaming the messenger. Then we start being like, say what? What are you trying to tell me? And like, how much is it going to cost? And then we get mad at the person and then we create, right? Like there are these ways that if we feel like it's a foregone conclusion, we all of a sudden have lost the
I
center.
love I love that because I use the word triggers, but I love activation a lot. I heard somebody say once, instead of using the word boundaries, say standards. And I was like, oh, I like that a
I
lot
like
too.
that too. I might have to really sit and think on that one.
Yeah, because
Wonder.
they're both in the positive way of how is this serving me? How is this growing me? You know, if you get activated by something, there is something within you that you need to look at and address, right?
Right, right.
Why did that activate me? Why did that, get me riled up or whatever it did to you?
Yeah.
So I love that. I'm going to take that with me.
Standards.
I love the guests I get on my podcast because they teach me so much. And so we're coming towards the end, and I think I'm gonna have you back over and over again. But would you leave? I wanted to talk about our nervous system safety, and you talked about the trauma, how trauma gets stored in our bodies, and that's a conversation that I would love to have later. But I want you, before we go, tell people where they can find you, where they can learn about you, and also leave them with one nugget of information that you want them to like make sure that they take away from this episode.
Curiosity is our superpower. That really is the core of my teaching. And it ties every single other topic together. It ties in together our ability about activation, about bartering. It ties in our access to embodiment, to trauma work. Like curiosity is our superpower. And whatever it is that we can do to open that up, to open up our curiosity, it's actually almost radical. It's almost a radical act, especially in the face of cultures, societies, traditions, lineages, histories that tell us to do the opposite. Sit down, don't ask questions. Sit down, don't challenge. Don't walk off the line, right? Curiosity is the way to address our activations. It's the way to address our bartering. That's really the core of it. As for me, I have a website and I teach trainings. And most importantly, I have this book, which I'm hoping explains in a really kind of accessible way some of these spiritual concepts that have just been eliminated and erased through history. But here we are in a time period where we're kind of over it. We're kind of like, I'm sorry, I need something that works. Like, I need something that works for my body and for my life. And I'm not going to go sit on a mountain and like meditate for I might do it for like a week. That's fine. But right, that's great. But at the same time, I need this to be integrated into my day to day. And that's what I think of as embodying and embodying the goddess, really, truly. That's what the lesson is.
I love it. I love it. I mean, the journey is the destination, and we keep thinking the destination's over there, but not realizing that every single moment is part of that. And it's
And that's
part of what
bartering.
makes, yeah, the whole life worth living and being a human, having the human experience. So, Cynthia, it
Yeah.
has been so wonderful having you on Secrets of Being podcast. I do want to have you back again. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Secrets of Being. We will see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Secrets of Being podcast. We appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring content. For further inspiration, visit thesecretsofbeing.com and join our community. Until next time, stay inspired and keep unlocking the secrets of being.